So, I met this lady, geez, what, a week ago or so? And your name?
Jamie.
Jamie. And Jamie, you know I take these videos and I upload them to YouTube.
Yes.
And you know that because you watch them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you know some of the people I've interviewed.
Yes.
Good.
Wow.
Jamie, how old are you?
28.
28. And we'll start right from the beginning. I mean, I know you're a working girl sometimes, and I know you have drug issues. I'd like to, yours is a little different because we've talked off camera. So when did your first exposure to drugs occur?
When I was 14.
14. And how did that happen?
My mom was using, and she had locked herself in the bathroom. We started out, she was letting me smoke weed, let me drink, smoke a little crack, and then she was in the bathroom not answering the door. I was knocking, and I finally broke in. She was passed out with a needle in her arm, and when she came to, she asked me if I wanted to try it. I said yeah, and she gave it to me.
Yeah, and you were already smoking weed and drinking. Now, this is strange behavior for a parent.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? Has your mother had her own problems?
Yeah, she's been using since I was 8.
She has. And so that happens. She presumably gets better. And your actual first use of heroin was when?
When I was 14.
I mean, but right after that, I mean, like a week later, a month later, she said, hey, this is bad, but I think you should try it. How close to when you witnessed that with your mother did you actually use?
That same day. That right when she came to.
Really?
Right when she woke up.
And this was her idea?
Yeah.
And so you actually used heroin at 14 years of age?
Yeah.
So this goes on for how long as a young teen?
Well, I used continuously until she got some trouble when I turned 15. I had got sent to a rehab in Monroe, a youth center.
And this was what state?
Here,
okay.
Michigan.
All right.
I got sent to a rehab in Monroe. I was there for 90 days. And then when I got out, I moved to Kentucky with my grandparents.
Okay. Now, at the time your mother was doing it, what was her source of income?
My stepdad, he made a lot of money. She would cut holes in his pocket, steal his money, and different things. She would go have sex with guys. Sometimes she would have me have sex with guys.
At what age?
14.
Oh my God. And so your last time in a school system was at what age?
Oh, I graduated high school.
You did?
Yeah.
So you managed to graduate despite using...
Well, that was my freshman year. After I went to Kentucky, I started using pills, and I had went to a group home when I was 17. Stayed there till I turned 18. That's where I actually graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
I was there for a year.
Okay. And you got out of there, and did you ever have traditional employment of any kind, like regular jobs?
Yeah, when I got out of the group home, I started going to college. I stayed clean for a good 4 years. Worked at Amazon, went to school, had a couple kids, and then when my daughter died is when I started using again.
And what year would that have been?
When I was 22.
And what did she die from?
She was just born too early.
Okay. And so you still have one child alive?
I have 3 alive.
Oh, so you had some more later on?
Yeah.
And how old are they?
My oldest is 7, and then I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay, now are these the same father?
My youngest has the same father. My oldest is a different father.
Okay. And where are those kids now?
Kentucky.
Okay. And do you have any contact with them?
My son, my oldest, I do sometimes. Occasionally we'll get on live FaceTime. But my girls, no.
And your mother's in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were in Kentucky. What would make you come back to Michigan?
Well, I got divorced, and I had done some jail time down there, and I was on the run, so I came up here, and I was only up here for like 6 months. This was about 3 years ago, and then I got caught. I had to go back down to Kentucky for 6 months and do 6 months at a time, and then as soon as I got out, I came back here.
What was the original jail time for?
Possession.
Gotcha. And what were you caught with?
Suboxone and marijuana and a couple pills, 2 morphine pills.
Okay. And what were the circumstances of that arrest? Traffic stop, raid, what?
Yeah, well, originally they had charged my ex-husband with it, and I had never been in trouble before. He had been in trouble several times, so I knew I would face less time.
Okay.
Originally they gave me probation, but I messed it up and had to go in and do the time.
Okay, messed it up because you maybe test dirty?
Yeah.
Okay. Now back to the 14-year-old stuff, and you were actually really a working child.
Yeah.
And did that with your mother?
Yeah.
How would people find out about you under those circumstances? Was it your mother? I mean,
Well, my mother would set it up. She would feed me full of Xanax thinking that I wouldn't remember it. But we would take off and go to hotel rooms for like weeks at a time. And she would have these guys come over and she would tell them I was 18. And basically just do what they want you to do.
Yeah. Now, I mean, this had to be like super traumatic for you.
Well, at the time it was just like, I was so high, like I mean, I really didn't even think about it like that.
Okay. So you're going on and you're using drugs and your mother's using drugs and you're doing these things in motels and hotels. What caused that to fall apart eventually and where you got out of there for a while?
Well, my mom got in some trouble. She got arrested, and I went to live with my aunt. And my aunt seen that I was on drugs, and I had to have it every day. So she put me in the rehab. Okay. And then my grandparents, who lived in Kentucky, fought for me. They said, we'll take her down here where she can stay clean. It didn't last very long. Okay.
And would you say it's safe to say that your trauma as a young child affected your marriage?
Oh, definitely.
It did? Yeah. In what kind of ways would you say that manifested itself? Just depression, arguments, was brought up? How?
Oh yeah, I was a whore. I was this, I was that. I was a junkie. And half the time, like, I didn't want to have sex, and that affected it. I mean, sometimes I wanted to, but other times I just wanted to be high.
Right. And then you make your way back here, and you've struggled with addiction since you've been back in Michigan on and off, right?
Yes.
Have you...
I've got clean one time since I've been back in Michigan. And it was like for like 3 months, that's it.
And how did that happen?
Well, I got stopped on Michigan Avenue, and this guy said that he would buy my drugs only if I went to rehab. So he took me to buy my drugs. I told him, yeah, I'll go, just to be able to get that fix. He took me to get my drugs. I got my fix, and then he took me to rehab, and I stayed.
Oh, okay. Now, it's been pretty much heroin and what else? Crack. And you're using now, right?
Yes.
Okay. How much would you say that cost you a day, crack and heroin?
Now I only spend about $50 a day.
Okay. For both?
Yeah.
Okay.
50, 60.
Yeah. If you could explain to me, you're addicted to drugs and you're not feeling good about yourself. What is the thinking that goes on a day where you're hoping for a different direction, but then that old demon comes around and you start thinking about what's the mechanism for I shouldn't do this to I gotta have this, and going out and actually buying it. What goes through your mind before you go out and try and score some drugs? How does that work?
The whole time I'm thinking, I gotta stop. I'm so tired. But then I start to be sick, and it's like, then that's all I think about.
It is. And how would you describe the, I know the crack's a stimulant.
Yeah, I don't get sick from not having the crack.
But the heroin you do.
Yeah.
And when you go out and you're sick, dope sick, and you get some heroin, how does that, describe how that feeling goes away? When you...
Immediately.
It does.
As soon as I get it in me, I just get this feeling of relief. And then I can just relax, smoke a cigarette, and begin my day.
And how long does that last?
A couple hours.
Okay. So I've read and I've talked to people about this before. They describe the life of a working girl that's addicted to heroin, the loneliest life in the world. Do you think there's something to that?
Oh yeah.
And is it just...
Definitely lonely.
Is it just because the isolation of scoring drugs and being with people you don't want to be, about the time when nobody's around? Or the...
Yeah, and the fact that you can never have somebody actually love you because of the things that you've done.
That's not really true. I mean, you're a young girl, and it's not over. So,
Sorry.
your day-to-day life is... I've known you, what, a week? Go through your typical day.
I wake up, call my dope dealer. Usually I can get credit until I can get some money. So that way I'm not sick trying to make money. And then I head out, walk the streets, and try to make some money.
Now, walking the streets, you're familiar with these areas, and I've never saw you down on Michigan Avenue. You know some of the people I know, and I know you've talked about where you're going now. So, do you pick times? Do you get cabs, Uber, buses? How do you pick where you go now?
Well, sometimes, I basically go where I used to go when I actually lived on the streets and didn't have my hotel room. I would basically just go back there where I know I could get fast money.
And you just
hop on the bus, take the bus, get some money, and then come back.
So is it just you get off the bus and you just start hanging around and making eye contact with...
Yeah, just start walking. It usually takes not even 5 minutes for a car to stop me.
And I'm sure you're an expert at picking out
the ones that I know have money or know that want to spend money.
And we talked about this off camera last night, and you're out there doing this. What goes through my mind is, as a guy and you have girlfriends, and I'm friends with women, and they have guilt about sex they had and a one-night stand and infidelity and what have you. What goes through your mind when you're with these men? Because the people that watch, and they generally consider sex, more than just it. It is. You feel that way.
It's gross.
And you're just on like autopilot?
Pretty much.
And the average time spent with one of these, what do? Go to a hotel? Is it their car or what?
I don't usually do car dates. I usually have them take me to the Crest.
Okay. And what would keep you from doing a car date? Why?
The cops.
Okay.
I don't want to get arrested.
Gotcha.
And the main reason I don't want to get arrested is because I know I'll be in jail and be sick.
Okay, yeah. And your experience with the cops on the street working has been...
I haven't really gotten in any trouble for it. I've tried to stay away from the streets. Like I said, I had a good year run about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, where I lived on the streets. Now I try to just get out there and get back as fast as I can and try to avoid any
Yeah. When you're in this circumstance, is a normal relationship not even a possibility? I mean, is this something you think about, or it's just like, no, my life's in such turmoil that doesn't, the light bulb never comes on?
Well, with certain guys I meet, I try to lie and, you know, make my life seem like I'm not on drugs, I'm this good person, and when really it's all just, you know, trying to get them to see me different in hopes that I could have a real relationship, but it'll never be that with me on drugs.
Yeah, do the customers try to morph a sexual relationship into like a normal one? Do you have a lot of guys trying to turn this into something else?
I've had a few, but that's usually just when they get tired of paying.
Okay. And in your normal course of life, do you run into guys you're attracted to and you think to yourself, man, under different circumstances, maybe this could go someplace, but you just kind of move on because of where you're at?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Now, you have been homeless at times.
Yes.
And during those times, what were the living arrangements? Just abandoned houses? What?
I've stayed under the bridge. I've stayed on benches. I've slept on benches. I've slept in tents.
Okay. And lately, you've been able to get money to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, for the last 3 months, I've stayed in a hotel.
And it's obviously much better.
Yes.
So a hotel room to you is more than just a room that would be offered to someone that they would pay for on their vacation. It's probably a lot more than just getting a night's sleep. You probably feel safe in a hotel room.
Yes. Safe. And like that's my home for now.
Right. Now, you say your mother still uses and you've been using. Do you guys use together, or
Yes.
what do you do?
Yes. Sometimes if I'm having a hard time getting drugs, I'll call her and she'll help me out.
Gotcha. Has she improved or been clean?
Never.
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 Okay. Now, is your mom, she doesn't work?
No.
Okay. And is she remarried?
No, she does have a boyfriend though.
She does have a boyfriend. And you keep in touch with a stepdad?
Yes.
And you
My mom's ex.
and he's been a good guy to you?
Yes.
In what kind of ways?
He helps me out. He buys me groceries if I need it. You know, he comes and sees me every day and makes sure I'm safe, alive, and fed.
And this has been a good relationship the whole time?
Yes, he's treated me better than my real father.
He has. And your real father is where now?
Somewhere downriver. I haven't talked to him since I was 16.
Oh, since you were 16. So if you could, what is it that you think you're lacking to get out of this mess? What could, you watch the videos I do and the people I talk to, and some of the people get out and
Well, basically,
what could help you?
like basically, with this whole COVID thing, the rehab that I went to a year ago, they're so booked up, and like I don't have any insurance, so I can't even get it covered to try to go back to treatment.
But you could get Medicaid, couldn't you?
Yeah, if I had the right resources.
Now, do you have the ID problem?
Yeah, I don't have no identification.
Okay. And that's pretty daunting to try to get. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, and the fact that my license is out of Kentucky. It's hard for me to get a Michigan license without my old license.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have to have a picture ID, and I don't have that.
All right. So, what is it you need help with now? Where would you like to go with this? How do you? I mean, sometimes I think like maybe I could, if I knew people that would like sponsor you, families that would take in normal people.
Yeah, like if I had a support system, like just, I'm scared to go to rehab, get out, and I have nowhere to go.
Oh, okay.
Be right back on the street.
Okay. And I forgot. I don't know if I asked you. You're how old?
28.
Yeah. So you're still really young. So that would be something you'd be open to.
Oh yeah.
For rehab. And you and your mother still use. So considering what you told me, is it a love-hate relationship with your mother? Have you?
I was just telling my stepdad that actually the other day. I said, me and my mom have a love-hate relationship. I love her, but I hate her. This isn't her. My mother graduated college with 2 kids, became a registered nurse when I was young. She was the best mom until drugs got a hold of her.
Yeah, and is she interested in changing?
She says she's not ready.
She says she's not ready. And how old is your mother?
48.
Okay. Now you said 2 kids, so you have a sibling.
My mom has 4 kids.
4 kids?
Yeah, I have an older brother, a younger brother, and a younger sister.
Oh, okay. So...
She graduated college with 2 kids. Me and my older brothers before she had my...
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My other sister.
Now, do you keep in touch with any of these?
My little sister actually just reached out to me about 6 months ago. I haven't seen her since she was 2. Or no, she was 5 when I seen her last. And it was my younger brother I haven't seen since he was 2. She reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm your sister. And like I haven't spoke to her since she was 5 and she's 13 now. So,
how did that go?
It went okay. The communication is like just very little. Just because I don't want the same thing that happened to her that happened to me when I was her age.
And why hasn't that happened to her? Is that because she went with...
She went with her grandparents, her dad's parents. So she's had a good life. She has? Yeah.
And how about the other kids?
My little brother, his dad is actually chief firefighter of Detroit. Chief EMT, head EMT.
Okay.
He's like big in Detroit.
Okay.
That's his father.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So he's had a good life too.
Good. So, now would you share your Facebook with people?
My Facebook, I just got a new phone, and my other Facebook was logged in on my old phone, which I no longer have access to the phone number. So I had to make a new Facebook. So this new Facebook I have no friends on it. I basically just use it for my games that I play. But I will be willing to share my new Facebook.
Okay, and what's your name on there? You don't want to do it?
Well, no.
I only ask because I know people are going to want to help you.
Yeah.
And that requires like a way that they can somehow communicate with you. But if you don't want to give it out, that's fine.
I can give my phone number.
Well, you might. There's a lot of weirdos out there. I don't want to do that. Do you have an email?
Yes, I can give my
How about
email.
that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Jamie, JAMIE .McMahon MCMANN .123@gmail.com.
Okay. And do you have any like Cash App, Venmo, any of those?
Yeah, I have Cash App.
And what's your Cash App address?
Star STAR the number 0 Galaxy GALAXY.
Yep. And that's the whole thing?
Yeah.
And that's your Cash App? Okay. Now, your financial situation has changed a little bit, so where you worry about keeping your hotel room.
Yes.
Okay.
I was getting unemployment, and that would basically cover my rent here. And now they've cut it off, and I don't even have enough to pay half the rent, not even a quarter of the rent.
So on a day when you decide to work, is that just you're more interested in covering the drug bill?
Yes.
And then you got the extra stress of a place to live?
Yes.
Now if you could rent an apartment or room that was cheaper, because even if you're getting a good deal at a motel or hotel, it's still pretty expensive. Would you say that it's just like your life's so chaotic now, you'll worry about a better place down the road and try to...
Yeah, as of right now, where I don't have identification, I want to stay here as long as I can, because I know if I end up not being able to keep this hotel, I won't be able to get another hotel without ID.
Gotcha.
So I got this hotel when I had my ID before I lost it.
Oh, you did? Okay,
yeah.
Good. So, is there anything you can think of that, you know, I can do offhand? Oh, one thing before I forget while I'm thinking about it, you know, heroin addicts obviously use needles. I know some women, though, that never injected. They snorted.
Yeah, I know a few girls that never injected.
No, you inject, right?
Yeah.
Why would you do that instead of snorting?
It hits you faster.
It hits you faster. Okay.
And that's what I've always known.
And you know a guy that I know, and it's a needle exchange place. What's your feelings on these needle exchange outfits?
I think it's amazing.
You do?
Yeah.
And what?
People using clean needles keeps the disease rate down. I think it's a wonderful resource.
Okay. And you, on a day when you're using, you would use a typical day, how many needles?
Probably about 5.
5 needles. You'd like a new needle every time?
Yes. I mean, sometimes if I don't, I'll have to reuse my own. You know, if I don't have a way to get new ones. But most of the time I try to keep new ones.
Okay. I've read articles where they talk about the fluctuations of the strength of heroin. You've experienced that, right?
Yes.
What's your concern about getting fentanyl someday?
Oh, I've gotten fentanyl. At this point, I prefer it.
Really?
Yeah. It's so hard. My body is so used to it. Like at this point, it takes so much just to keep me from being ill.
It does.
Yeah. And the way I explain it to people is fentanyl will get you off sick if you're addicted to heroin. Heroin will not get you off sick if you're addicted to fentanyl. You have to have the fentanyl. Heroin won't help. It's not strong enough. Not powerful enough. Whereas the fentanyl is powerful enough.
So if you went out and you were using, you're actually specifically looking for fentanyl?
Looking for the strongest thing I can get.
And is that knockoff fentanyl? Chinese fentanyl, do you know?
I don't know.
Because I think that's the worry, that you never really know what kind of dose you're getting, because it's not a pharmaceutical
now,
grade.
when I got clean, I was worried because I OD'd. I OD'd several times when I first started using again.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do half a pack in OD. Now I can do 6-pack. I can do half a gram and still be upright.
And you OD'd because of you just got sloppy on the dose. It was stronger than you thought.
Yeah, it was too strong, and I had been clean for 3 months, and my body wasn't used to it.
And what were the circumstances, though? What kind of environment were you in, and did somebody notice you? What was done?
I was with an ex-boyfriend. I had met somebody after I got out of rehab who actually was involved in getting me back on drugs. And we were staying in a hotel. He brought some home from work, and he gave me a dose, and I was like, I want more. I did more, and I woke up in the hospital, and he said that I turned gray and purple and blue. Wasn't breathing.
So you got lucky.
Yeah. They said I flatlined 4 times.
Well, and even with that happening, still just such a powerful urge that you're willing to spin the wheel again. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to articulate what the life of a young, pretty working girl like you addicted to heroin is really like.
It's insanity.
There's no glamour to it. Of the young women that sometime are, thinking about trying a different drug other than marijuana, what do you have to say to the women and men that are propositioned with the chance of trying heroin?
It's not worth it. No matter how good you think you might feel, it's not worth it down the road. Because in the end, you're just gonna feel awful.
You look like you look pretty healthy.
Yeah, I've gained some weight since I've had this hotel room.
Is that just
I've cut back on my use.
Okay. Would you say you're using less now than you ever have?
Yes. I'm using less now than I ever have.
So it's really kind of a maintenance dose?
Yes. I do just enough to keep me from being sick.
Do you get your crack and heroin from the same source?
I haven't really even used crack in like 2 months.
Okay.
So that's probably why I've gained weight too.
Oh, okay.
But yes, from the same source.
Same source. So there's no problem buying drugs whenever you want them? All over the place?
Everywhere.
Gotcha. Have you had...
You can even get free drugs. If there's somebody you've never bought from, they'll give you free just to try it out.
Okay. Much experience with alcohol?
A little bit. I like to have a glass of wine every now and then, but I never really got to the point where I was drinking every day.
Okay. And I know you smoke. Do you think this is all tied in with this? You do?
Yes.
Addiction.
When I stopped using heroin, I stopped smoking cigarettes. I didn't crave them. I didn't even want them.
Is that
They
right,
tasted bad to me. And then every time I get back on heroin, it's like I crave cigarettes again.
Now, you mentioned that you went to college.
Yes. 2 years.
And that was in...
I was 18, so...
And that was at a junior college, probably?
That was Morehead State University in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Now, would you, if you could just say, this is how I'd like my life to be down the road, what would that entail? What are you looking for out there?
Going back to school.
And what would you go back to school for?
I don't think I would get back into nursing. That's what I was going for before. I would love to get back. I would love to go for like cosmetology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you'd like to do
hair,
something like that?
Nails, makeup.
Okay. And you deep down, you know that's a possibility for you, don't you?
Yeah. I owe a lot of student loans, but
you do?
all they require is me to make payments. Once I make like 6 months of payments, I can get more student loans.
Okay. And you mentioned it. I don't know that much about like the street working stuff, but what a pretty girl like yourself, what just keeps you from like skipping the dangers of getting in with strangers and just doing escorting? I mean, I don't think, I'm not recommending it, but it seems like it'd be safer, but maybe it's not.
Really, the escorting, I've done it. I've posted ads, but it just, the time it takes to actually have somebody come through, when I could hit the streets and get 3 dates in that amount of time.
Gotcha. Okay. And did you do the topless dancing route?
Yeah, I've done the stripping.
You did stripping. See, that shows you I'm showing my age now. And what's the deal on that? Is that a hustle? I mean, what goes on in strip clubs that I don't know about? You know, when I was a young guy and we would go to strip clubs, you could have offered a dancer $1 million and you weren't going anywhere with her, even for breakfast, because it was tied to their liquor license. Now people tell me those days have changed.
Yes. Now, the money's a lot better. When I was dancing, I was making $800-900 a night.
Really?
Sometimes $1,000. Sometimes I could get up to $200 just to do a blowjob.
Really?
From one person, yeah. The environment's safer. You got bodyguards. But yeah, I mean, the money's better. But you have to be confident, and at this point my body has gone downhill. I'm not confident enough to go back to the club.
So you don't think you're as attractive now as you used to be? Okay. Do you notice a difference between a topless, a stripping patron, and a John on the street, or is it basically the same shit? Guys wanting women.
It's all the same. Guys pay more usually in the club than they do the girls on the street, because they think the girls in the club aren't as dirty, aren't as addicted to drugs, when really they are. They just have more money for better makeup.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
So, do you keep in touch with girls that still dance?
Yeah. I've talked to a couple
Isn't it kind of over with this COVID thing, or maybe not?
No, actually a lot of the clubs are still open.
They are?
Yeah.
But are they doing the business they did before?
Yeah.
They are, huh?
Yeah.
Now, on a night back in
They're just wearing masks.
They are wearing masks?
Yeah.
So back in the day, are the girls wearing masks?
The girls are wearing masks when they're on stage.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, so back in the day, dancing, would it be just like, oh God, gotta go in there again tonight?
Yeah.
Or, that's how it is.
Yeah.
No fun. Was it just like you had a certain frame of mind and you were there to dance and that was it, and when that was over, you were gone?
Money and get out of there as fast as I could.
Would you say that Johns and patrons of strip clubs may be lonely people?
Yes, because a lot of the guys, I would get paid just to sit and have a drink with somebody. They just want that fantasy, that affection, that person. And you know, I met a lot of guys that I still am in contact with today. It's a good network to get regulars.
Would you say you'd made what you would consider genuine friendships with either Johns or strip club patrons? Good people.
I met a couple guys that, you know, they send me money to this day to help me out.
Okay. So being a John or going to a strip club doesn't necessarily make these bad people.
No.
They're kind of lonely people.
Yeah.
And you'd say that that's just companionship sometimes with people, huh?
Yeah. We're all trying to get something out of it, you know. Whereas the John might want the woman might want the money. It's all just people trying to help people get what they want.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's honest. You know,
everybody uses everybody in there.
It's spelled out at least.
Yeah.
Well, you got any questions for me?
No, I keep up with you pretty well on your videos.
You do? How long have you been doing that?
Last few weeks.
Oh, okay. So, and you, of course, probably know plenty of the people that I talk to.
Yeah. I think it was fate that God introduced me and you.
You do?
Yeah. I had been watching your videos. A friend of mine had told me about them. And I was like, this is awesome. This guy's awesome.
Well, I don't think I do anything that anybody else couldn't or wouldn't do if they did. I'm lucky to have the time.
You make me think that even though my life sucks right now, it could always be worse.
It could be worse.
I could be back. This is what I tell people. I'm nowhere near where I need to be, But I'm not where I used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you got a lot of potential.
I still have a long way to go.
I mean, you're a young, pretty woman, you know. I mean, it helps. You know, it can help or it can hurt you. It can go either way. I mean, you're a young, pretty woman, and up until now, life hasn't been that great. So it's not a guarantee. I mean, it's that internal mechanism of, I think, just from the little I've done, that you need somebody to be behind you, and a good people like, you know, the needle guy I talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
no good guy. I mean, there's no.
I met him on Michigan Avenue. I was cold, and he gave me a sweatshirt.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and you know, I can't, other than him, I don't, you know, I don't trust anybody out there.
Yeah.
You know.
And he's never flirted.
No,
you know.
no, yeah, not happening.
Genuine people.
Genuine people, you know. So you recognize that working girls and someone in your position, I think you got your radar on who's real. I'm sure you spot it in a half a second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I know people are going to want to support you. It's certainly been interesting talking to you.
Thank you.
I mean, I crossed paths with you quite a bit, so I'm glad we finally got to knock this interview out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good day.